thought we would cover 10 lessons that wealthy people are teaching their kids about money. And I'll share some suggestions on how you can put these into practice with your families. So number one, wealthy families are talking about money. It's not a scary or a taboo subject. Now, it might be a scary subject in your household, but it does help if you can start bringing more open and honest conversations to the kitchen table. How money works, or what the card is that you're using to pay for things. So it's interesting to have these conversations, see what their perceptions are, talk about why maybe you can't afford things, or where money comes from, or what you're spending money on today, or how you can make more money. All of these conversations can really help make money a normal topic. And if your child goes on to have any issues with money, they will be much quicker to start talking about money if you have raised them in a household where money is a normal conversational topic. So the second lesson that wealthy people are teaching their kids about money is that they just allow them to have their own money, pocket money in small or large amounts, and let them just deal with that themselves. This teaches things like patience and, that time when you've lost your money, like what are you going to do about it? It's your fault, look after it better. All of these things can really help. So if you can, try and give your kids their own money. It can be easy, and I know I have a tendency to do this myself, where I look after my children's money like it's in their bank account. But if they actually have their own cash and they can manage this, it helps them appreciate the value of that. It teaches them the value of money and that they have to make some choices around it. The third lesson is around abundance. Naturally, children that are raised in wealthy households believe that there are plenty of opportunities for money everywhere. So it can be hard to instill these values if you are struggling with finances yourself. But one way that you can instill this in your children is to talk about the good things that happen, to look for the opportunities, talk about them, and also use things like, we can't afford this yet, and how are we going to make it happen? What can we do? How can we save? Rather than focusing on the negatives like we don't have enough or we can't do this now, look at the positives and make some steps towards achieving that. You can raise your children to think that there are opportunities for money everywhere, and it will be amazing what opportunities will show themselves to your children if they start thinking like this. Lesson number 4, wealthy people are teaching their kids about passive income. We get this money from savings, we get interest on savings, we get this when we have investments, we get this if we have, say, a book that's out there in the world that's just selling itself. Musicians get this if they've got a record out there and that just sells itself. This is passive income. For people that aren't quite so wealthy to start off with, you have to look at ways of building passive income. I have a whole load of videos on how you can start your passive income journey, so make sure you go and check those out. Think about things that you can do as a family to do this and have those conversations at the dinner table. Lesson number 5 is about who you know. Surrounding yourself with successful people is really, really good for setting you up with the right mindset. You will find ways to be successful too. That will be your normal. You will see that in the people around you. And do this for yourself too. A lot of what our children pick up on is about our own behaviours. 6, most people get rich by solving problems. Obviously, some people are born into wealth and they just get lucky. Some people win the lottery. But if you want to be successful in business, then the way to go is to solve problems. So how do you instill this in your children? Well, you inspire them to be problem solvers. If they're in the middle of a game and it's not working out, why not ask them to look for a solution? What can they come up with? Maybe there's something that they can't do right there and then, but it's good to get creative and inspire those conversations. You're not going to be able to give them the $1 million idea, but you may well be able to teach them the skills of problem solving, which could help them come up with those ideas in the future. Lesson number 7 is to teach young people about assets and liabilities. Wealthy people are buying assets. These are things that are making them money. Typically, it's things like property and investments like in the stock market. It's all about that passive income. Whereas liabilities are things that cost you money. So this could be things like your car, anything that essentially loses value. These are all things that are not going to make you wealthier and actually just going to suck money away from your wealth. Wealthy people are very, very good at having assets. It's a simple lesson to explain to your children the difference between these things. Number 8 is deferred gratification, and this is something that kids really struggle with. This idea that if you don't get this thing now, you'll be able to get a better thing later. And it's really challenging, and a lot of adults struggle with this too. If you can encourage your children to delay that sense of gratification, don't get sweets every week, but at the end of the month, you'll be able to go out and buy that toy you want. It's very hard for children to make these decisions, and they will need your guidance about this, particularly if they are young. Role model these things so they can see these things in action. Number 9 is about risk. Teach your children about different risk levels, what risks are involved in different financial actions. So it could be that saving is considered a less risky route for putting your money, whereas investing has a higher risk. You then need to balance that with things like, well, what are the potential returns? So if you save, yeah, you might get a bit of money, but your money's fairly safe and it's not going to make you loans. Whereas if you invest, yes, it's riskier, but there is the chance of a higher return. Most adults struggle with this concept and prefer to keep their money nice and safe and in low risk environments. It's a difficult one to navigate, particularly if you yourself are a little risk averse. And probably the most important lesson and the 10th lesson in this video that the wealthy are teaching their kids is that their time is valuable. We often forget that actually our time is more valuable than money. When you realize you only have a limited number of hours in the day, you will stop selling yourself short and you will increase the amount of money you make. And this is what wealthy people are passing on to their kids. Use money to buy back your time and use your time to make as much money as possible. Honestly, wealthy people just have a whole different outlook on money, and that's largely because they have it. A big thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to see me in my next video. Catch you next time. Bye.